Now, another option that that may be a trigger, and we've already, I think everybody has mentioned it, so some particular set, is food intolerance. And in Birmingham's pharmacy, we try to go for looking at what could be the cause of these symptoms, because, as you know, in pharmacy, medicines generally treat symptoms, but they don't necessarily get to the cause of the problem. And sometimes the actual food that we're eating is the cause. So, just a little explanation of what is food intolerance. There's two types of immune reaction to food. And the first would be the food allergies. And in medical language, an allergy would be something that springs up very quickly. So it's mediated by antibodies. And antibodies are part of our immune system that protects us from things that are foreign in our body that might hurt our bodies. So these allergic reactions are mediated by an antibody called IgE. And they would be very, very sudden reactions. They'd be the type of things where you see people that carry anapins and things like that, and they get a very severe allergic reaction to peanuts. The beautiful thing about that is that your body tells you right away exactly what the problem is. The thing about food intolerance is that they can be very insidious. The food intolerance reactions can take 2 to 3 days to show up. And that means that they're very, very difficult to isolate. So you don't necessarily think, what did I eat 3 days ago that's causing me this problem? They're mediated by different antibodies. And the other thing about food intolerance reactions are that if you remove the food from the system for a period of time, your body stops making these antibodies. And when it stops making the antibodies, it almost forgets that it was a problem. And then you can reintroduce the foods at a lower level. So these IgG antibodies are what we use in Birmingham's pharmacy to identify from a little blood test whether our bodies is seeing the food that we're eating as foreign. And if it is, then it's worth eliminating it from the diet for a period of time. Yeah. So this is your gut instinct. This is what's going on. So there, in our gut, Gillian McKeith, which maybe some of you know, she'd be quite a famous nutritionist, but she would say you are what you eat. She has a book called that. But I'd even go a little step further. You are what you digest and absorb. And the thing about food is that if your body is seeing it as foreign, and therefore it's attacking it, and it's trying to eliminate it from your body, you're not going to be able to digest it. You're not going to be able to absorb it. If you're not digesting it properly and you're not absorbing it properly, what is it doing? Sitting in your gut, not being digested. And sometimes then, bacteria which aren't friendly, bacteria start to do the job for us. And that can cause the unfriendly bacteria, that can be a source of unfriendly bacteria that Jess is talking about. The other thing about that is you can very often get very, very tired, because there's your body, number one, making heaps and heaps of antibodies, which takes energy to do. Also, it's not getting all this food that is your source of energy into your system, so it can't start making energy. So not only are you not getting your body making whole heaps of antibodies, but you're also not getting the benefit from the food. So you know of the typical foods that are associated with migraine if food is a trigger. And they'd be your chocolate and your red wine and your cheese because of the amines and all what Jess was speaking about. But sometimes it's healthy foods that can cause the problem. And sometimes it may not actually be the chocolate that causes the problem. It may be the milk that's in the dairy milk chocolate. And sometimes it may not actually be the pizza that's causing the problem. It may be the wheat that's used in the base. So unless you find out, it's very, very difficult to isolate. So you say, I can't see any pattern here, because 2 times, like last time it was cheese, the time before it was chocolate, the time before it was pizza, and it may be that in that particular case, for that particular person, the common factor there may be the milk. So it's worth finding out if you have any suspicion. So what we offer at Birmingham's Pharmacy is a food intolerance test that involves taking a little finger prick sample, and it measures the IgG antibodies. They go off to a reference lab in Cambridge and they come back within about 2 weeks, and the test is suitable for adults and children over a year. Ideally, you'd be eating your normal diet, and that you wouldn't have already started eliminating foods that you think are maybe a problem before you start. And the reason, unless you know already, if you're a celiac, you're not going to suddenly start eating gluten foods to get a reaction in a food intolerance test. You know this already, so you don't need a test to tell you that. It's the other things that can cause a problem. And part of that is the combinations of factors. So we've had people that have said, oh, I know that chocolate causes me a problem, but I still don't feel well even when I've finished it. So when you get the results back, they're fed back to in a traffic light system. So red would be the foods that you would avoid for a period of 3 to 4 months to desensitize the system. Amber for avoid for 8 weeks, and green would be ones that are safe to eat at the levels that you've been eating them up until then. And the beautiful thing about it is you can get food intolerance tests via the internet and things like that, but what we would say, it's the feedback that we offer that is interpreted in the context of your life, because you are unique and you have your own. You know, I don't like such and such, or I can't eat this, or what's that, or how do you cook it, all of those kind of things. So they are interpreted in your context and what you want to get from it. So it's the personal contact. So from the point of view of making an appointment, if this is something that's of interest to you, you are more than welcome to register your interest at the end of this evening afterwards, or to ring the pharmacy. Generally what's involved, they take about 30 minutes of your time. The test takes very short minutes, but it's just to talk it through with you and make sure that it's appropriate for you, that it's something that makes sense for you. And then when the results come back, we'd recommend that you take at least put aside another 30 minutes to make sure that you can literally digest the contents of the report. So, and the investment then would be, for the 93 food test, it works out about €2.70 for food, and the old per food, and €255 for the 93 foods, and it's only from one little finger prick sample. The old tests used to, stab 93 times, which would be less than ideal. So, okay, there's loads and loads and loads of stuff that you've had to this evening, lots to ponder. But if there's one thing that you can pick from it, and each one of you will be unique, the message I would hope to have for you is pick one thing, make a decision, do something different, and hopefully you'll get a great result. Now, there are no guarantees in life, are there? But there's what I could guarantee you is if you keep on doing the same thing, you won't know if doing something different would make a difference. So it's worth giving it a go. And it's also worth knowing what your baseline is right now. So as Donna was saying, keeping a migraine diary, having an annual medical check, being a little bit proactive about it, not waiting until things all go wrong. Have a review if you're taking medicines with your pharmacist. And on that, you are always getting the scales out. Is this medication? The medication doesn't change. They absolutely have to be 100% the same all the time. We've got very good legislation to make sure that that is the case for medicines that are bought in the state. Different thing if you're buying medicines online. There is no such guarantee. But with medicines that you get within the state, they are regulated and you know what you're getting. The thing is, your body might be changing. So whether or not the risk, when you weigh up the risks and the benefits, that benefit is still weighing in your favour will depend on your circumstance. And that's worthwhile discussing with your pharmacist. Physical assessment, again, Dave went through that, is worthwhile, knowing where you are with that. Blood results, important there. And the other thing then is if it's appropriate or you feel that it's right, to have a baseline food intolerance test done. So as I said, seek assistance from professionals that you trust. And I think that and from colleagues, there's loads of expertise here in this room. You all have experiences, and people can learn from experience. So talk to each other and learn. We're all works in progress. So, but the important thing is that you trust the person that you are seeking advice from, and that you believe that they have your best interest at heart. And once you know that, then you can proceed with confidence. Then listen to your gut instinct. Trust yourself. Trust what your body. Listen to what your body is telling you. Trust it, and try and figure out what it is. Be your own detective. Keep yourself accountable to you, because that can be a little bit of a trick. That you start off and say, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that," but who can help you to make sure that you stay on track with what you want most? And this is only if you feel that food intolerance could be a factor in your case. We're conducting a study in the pharmacy at the moment, and anybody here is invited to participate if they so wish. So if you go for the 93 food test, and that's something you'd like, we're offering a complimentary health screen, which that involves blood glucose testing, a full lipid profile, which is your cholesterol broken down into your good and your bad cholesterol, your blood pressure screen, and when you get the results of your food intolerance test. Also offering complimentary coaching session at 6 weeks to see if there's anything that's getting in the way of you achieving your goals. And also again at 12 weeks. And the reason for 12 weeks is because the foods in the red zone we recommend that you stay off them for the 12 weeks. And at that 12-week stage as well, we do another complimentary health screen for you and just see if there is any positive difference, any difference at all. And also whether your symptoms have improved. And I suppose when I say the price, and I said it to somebody else, it's almost if you get a change, a positive change, and it makes a big difference in your life. And some people, if food is a problem, it can transform their experience. Then it comes down to being priceless almost. So that is an opportunity if you feel that is relevant for you. I come back now to that question that we asked at the start, at the very beginning. How much do you value your health and well-being? And